Okay, guys, this is going to be a pretty short video. We're just talking about body systems again and some more ways that they regulate our body. So, just as a refresher, talking about some stimulus and response situations. So, a stimulus is something that causes a specific reaction, and a response is the specific reaction to the stimulus. So, for example, a stimulus might be touching something really hot, like a stove or a tea kettle or something like that. Usually we don't put our hands right on hot burners like this, but if we were to put our hand down on something really hot, our body's response would be to pull our hand away really quickly to help us stay safe from that. So that's one example of a stimulus and response. This is something happening, something that's causing a reaction, and the response is the reaction. So the today is about blood pressure. So blood pressure is basically like how much blood is in our blood vessels at a time. So normal blood pressure is 120 over 80. That number is kind of hard to explain, but that is the normal blood pressure, and it just means that there's not too much blood and there's not too little blood in our blood vessels at a time. Um, but what happens when your blood pressure is too high, too much blood, or too low, too little blood? That would be our stimulus. So here, if blood pressure gets too high, and you guys can see, that means that there's a lot of blood. If that happens, our body's response is to have our blood vessels dilate. That means get wider. So you can see there was a lot of blood in them, the blood pressure was too high, and then these widened apart, these blood vessels widened apart, and it made space for all that blood. So that's one example of a stimulus and response. Um, and yeah, we call that dilation. Blood vessel dilation means that they get wider. What about on the other hand, though? If we have, here's our normal, we start out normal, and then all of a sudden our blood pressure is too low. That would be our stimulus. Something's wrong and our body needs to respond. Well, what happens in that case, and we're going to get into a little more detail here, is that a receptor on the blood vessel senses that change and sends signals to the brain. The brain is telling our body how to respond, and that happens by the blood vessel constricting. Constricting means to get more narrow. So you guys can see here, it's almost like the opposite of what happened with when blood pressure is too high. We have blood pressure is too low. Here, that's our stimulus. It's causing a reaction. Our body responds by signaling to the brain, and the brain signals to the blood vessels to constrict or get more narrow or tighter. So that is another set of stimulus and response. And yeah, that's how blood pressure is maintained in our body. And let's see if we can figure out which body systems were involved in this response. Yeah, so we have the circulatory system, of course, because we are talking about blood vessels. And we have the nervous system because we told you that the brain was responding. So yeah, that is blood pressure regulation in our body, and that is just one way that our body maintains homeostasis. So quickly, just some key points. Many body systems work together to maintain homeostasis. In this case, we had the circulatory system and the nervous system working together to maintain blood pressure. And then just some important vocab here. Dilate means to get wider. So we go from this to this. And constrict means to get more narrow. So we go from this to this. So those words are opposite from each other. They're just some helpful bio vocab words to have in your back pocket. If you guys have any questions, ask us in class, shoot us an email, anything like that. But yeah, see you in class. Bye.